We are gathered here today to mourn the loss of our beloved King Macbeth. He was always known as a loyal companion to King Duncan.
Macbeth proved this by defeating the treacherous army of Norway, and King Duncan would refer to him as a valiant cousin because in this day and age, in this warrior society, advancement and promotion through the ranks was done by showing your loyalty to the king and performing various acts on the battlefield.
This was the first glimpse of ambition we saw in Macbeth. He used this towards his advantage in battle, and was the reason for which he was general and led the Scottish army to victory. However, Macbeth's ambition was pure until the witch's prophecy soon began to corrupt it. This is when Macbeth's ambition steered his thoughts down a darker path.
My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical. This is a quote from Macbeth, which describes his feeling at the time. You see, Macbeth was never naturally inclined to commit evil deeds, but the prophecy planted an idea in his head, which kept on manifesting.
Now, you all may be wondering, how did Macbeth go from the loving man you once all knew to the murderous fiend he became? The answer is dangerous ambition. Like we said before, Macbeth was a kind-hearted person, but the main factor which blinded him from his moral constraints was someone you may have all known, his wife.
Lady Macbeth convinced him to carry out his thought of regicide, only because she wanted to be crowned queen herself. However, both didn't reflect on this idea thoroughly enough, which eventually took a toll on their mental state. A recurring motif of blood occurs throughout the play many times, and it represented the guilt they faced after murdering King Duncan. A build-up of this guilt inside Lady Macbeth eventually led to her death, and it proves how ambition can be dangerous for some.
Another example of why ambition can be dangerous is because even when he got the throne, his ambition continued to drive him to do horrible deeds. It took over his mind and thoughts and clouded his judgment and emotions. When Macbeth heard of the news that Lady Macbeth killed herself, he barely even reacted, saying she should have died hereafter, which shows that he had no emotion left and was merely just a shell of his former self. One would think that once he achieved his goal of becoming king, his ambition would start to dissipate. However, the opposite happened, and once he got a taste of power, his ambition kept growing and eventually led towards his death. Anything he saw as a threat towards his power, he had to eliminate it.
This is a step on which I must fall down or leap. This is a quote from Macbeth, where he was describing that anything opposing his power had to be overcome or else it would be his downfall. However, the irony in this is that this idea itself was actually his downfall. Afterwards, his ambition drove him to kill numerous people, such as Macduff's family, and this is what led to his demise, as Macduff swore vengeance on Macbeth, and eventually took his life, proving the dangers of ambition. However, let's not grieve the man that Macbeth became, but the man he once was. He was a hero to Scotland, fighting for a country and its people, and is a man who needs to be honored for centuries to come.